Pokemon Sword and Shield's expansion has new details, Destiny's teasing something, and a re-reckoning is coming to the Kingdoms of Amalur. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 234 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name is Garrett Drake. I'm joined online by Preston Pugh and Jacob Alka. Boys, how are you?
I'm doing good. Garrett, you look like a shining angel in your face cam.
A shining angel?
Yeah, you just have this.
It's that backlight.
Very bright backlight.
Yeah, that silhouette, yeah. That's the aesthetic I'm going for in this lovely Sunday morning in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I miss you guys. I mean, I think I saw Preston. I guess we talked about it in the last episode. We hung out at his place not too long ago, but I haven't spent time with you, Jacob, in quite a while. It's just not the same on Zoom. I mean, I know we played a game for a bit this past week, but I haven't seen you in person in so long.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I don't think I've seen you since the pandemic has started, right?
Not that I can recall. I don't think so. Man, that has been since February, late February.
At least.
Or like early March.
I think I've seen you this year at some point. I think did we do something this year? I know we hung out like before Christmas, I'm pretty sure.
Man, I have no idea.
But I don't know. I guess I just don't care if I can't remember, right?
Yeah, well, we should make up for that, Jacob. Maybe you should come over one day. We'll go to lunch and flirt a bit. How's that sound?
I mean, we could just flirt if you want. We don't have to go eat. If we eat, then there's less time to flirt.
That's a fair point, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Preston, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell. Thanks for asking.
It's good to see you too over Zoom, as always. Nothing really to report on my end. I had a fine week. All things considered. I played one game. I played Deep Rock Horizon. That name is so hard for me to remember.
That's not even right.
Is it not?
No, it's Deep Rock Galactic.
I literally told you the name before the show.
I can never remember the name of that damn game, dude. But I really enjoyed playing with both of you. I could see that being a fun time killer from time to time. I'm just ranking up your dwarf, your pickaxe, your weapons, your abilities, and just mining some caves and killing some aliens. So it was fun playing with you guys.
It was fun.
The hour and a half I played of it was really cool. I hope we can assemble our dwarves together again in the near future and try it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've been waiting for you guys to ask me to play again, but it hasn't come.
Yeah. Jacob and I played a couple extra matches after you left, Preston, and it was really cool. I mean, I think out of the 4 matches I think I played, all of them were a bit different in terms of what we were mining, what we were looking for, and just the layout of the maps. Is it procedural, or like all these maps are random? Yeah. Okay.
It is.
So that's really impressive, and it was a gig to download, which is fascinating because the game looks great. It runs well. Love the art style, and I was amazed at how much is packed into the hub world, like the bar, the dance floor, the mini games, the museum, the shrine of the fallen miners, the med bay, all the different areas where you could upgrade your gear. So I was really impressed with what little I played. I joined the Discord. I don't know if it's something I'll play actively or even play all the time for that matter, but I would like to dabble in it a bit more because it was a fun little co-op experience.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I before we got on and did the podcast, Garrett had to go walk some dogs. So I took the time to jump back into the game and just familiarize myself with the game. And I had completely forgotten all the controls since last Sunday or Monday, I think it was when we did it. So I just spent 5 minutes trying to relearn it, everything. And it's just a fun game. I enjoy the mining, the collecting. I enjoy the wave-based monster system. It's just satisfying. And then I was using my grapple hook because I was playing the scout. And my goodness, it's just so fun to use. Just zipping around, creating cubby holes in the wall to collect materials. It's a good time.
I think I was the engineer, if I'm not mistaken, the guy who has the platform gun. So I think that's what really stands out for me in that game is how the dwarves use their abilities in unison to complete certain objectives. And not Preston and I, but Jacob and I found that without Preston's, what was the name of the drill guy? What's he called? His class?
Just call him Drill Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drill Boy, because Preston was the guy with the big drill to get us through caves quicker. And when you're being chased by ravenous aliens without that guy, it's quite terrifying because your pickaxe only goes so quickly through the caves. But
Yeah.
it's a really, really cool game. And I had never heard of it until Preston or whichever one of you had mentioned it. So I'm glad we're playing it.
Yeah, it's a good time. I recommend. It's actually it kind of reminds me of Minecraft, not in the same way that you can build stuff, but like in terms of its exploration, it's a lot like that.
It kind of has
And
that
just
feel
collect
to
your
it.
resources. So
I lied.
it sort of has that same polish too. Like it's just satisfying to mine and
For sure.
just traverse the area.
I like our little robot pal too that crawls around and we dump our crap inside him.
Yeah.
I love the escape phase too. That's really, really exciting. It kind of reminds me of Hunt Showdown. You're escaping with all your goods in your life. So I enjoy that aspect as well.
Gotta get our weekly Hunt Showdown reference in there.
Absolutely. Don't anyone forget. I lied, by the way. I played Valorant as well with Preston for, I guess, an hour or so. We played a few matches.
Nice.
And I was almost professionally bad. Like you'd think that I went to school to learn how to not play well.
It's
but
okay,
it was
I'm very bad too.
But it was really fun and exciting. I want to play more of it.
I accompanied Garrett in that course as well. So we were
Was
both,
this your first time playing?
And we graduated with honors,
yes. Man. Yeah. So I spent like 20 minutes in the
training range.
Tutorial because I had a glitch to where I couldn't even get past the first area.
4 out of 10 because of that.
Yeah, I was just running around trying to figure out what I was supposed to do, and then I started talking to Garrett. I was like, "Man, what am I doing here?" And of course, when it's working, it's just like you just follow the directions. But I was just in the
it just wasn't working.
area. Yeah, it was nothing. So I was so confused, and should have just restarted it. But I was determined I was going to figure out what I was supposed to do. So yeah, that was my my start off to it. But yeah, once we tutorial was fun and stuff, and once we got into a match, just like Garrett said, I'm just almost offensively bad. And I think it's just mainly getting used to how the guns handle and stuff. It's very counter strikey in terms of the recoil and stuff. So I just think I just have to kind of get used to playing a game like that. But
did you what hero did you pick for agent?
I picked the chick that could zoom fast and shoot herself.
You picked Tracer.
Yeah.
I'm really bad with it.
I picked Hanzo or whatever the guy's name is with the bow from Overwatch.
Sova.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the guy you play through or play as in the tutorial. But yeah, I thought it was really fun. I want to, get back to it. I think it of course runs fantastic, which I think that's the whole point is that you can play this game on a toaster. But I think graphically it looks cool. I like the design of the heroes and I don't know, just cool. I think that this is definitely a game I'd like to hop in every now and then. Just try to at least get to a point where I can be just somewhat of an asset and not just be like a complete loser running around. But it kind of scares me to play this game because I mute everybody the second I get in because I am just horrified that people are going to trace me down and slit my throat in the middle of a match just based on how I'm playing.
Yeah.
So
you ought to get with a group of 5.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what we need to do.
I might reach out in the Discord at some point, and whenever I'm constantly seeing people, looking to play. Yeah, so I might do that at some point. But honestly, dude, I'm a little. I got to get my schedule down because with this new job, I thought I would have a lot more time to play games. So for the most part, I get off work between 5 and 6, and I live 10 minutes away from my work. So the commute home is nothing. So again, I'm getting home between 5 or 6, depending on what's going on. And I get back, I work out. That takes about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on what I'm doing. Then I eat dinner and take a shower and stuff. And by the time I'm done, it's almost like 9 o'clock. So I'm like, I don't have time to really like sit down and, really dedicate like a significant amount of time, to a game because I want to be in bed before, 11 so I can actually be an asset the next day at work. Um, so I've got to, get it down, pat a little more, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to be as structured about it as possible. Like I'm literally to the point where I'm towards the end of the last week, I was taking like my pre-workout on the ride home. So like the
Yeah.
second I got home, I could exercise and like already have meals prepped and everything. And my record was like getting everything done by like 8:30, and that was on Thursday last week.
How
So
many days a week are you working out?
6 days a week.
That's a lot.
Yep.
What if you only worked out like 3 or 4 days a week? And some of those days were on the weekend.
Um
Or maybe you work out less time each day. I mean, I don't know what you do, so I'm just.
I mean, I try and do every uh, muscle group twice a week.
Okay.
And that just I typically do like 2 to 3 a day, and then cardio every other day,
Mhm.
which that adds like another 30, 45 minutes.
I gotcha.
But I don't know. I would like to see if I don't know. It's like I should have enough time. If I start playing at like 8 or 8:30, like that should be 2 or 3 hours is enough. But it's like I'm so tired after the day that it's like I'm too tired to sit down and play a video game, which is stupid when I think about that.
Yeah.
But granted, again, it might just be like I'm not in the mood right now, really, to play anything. That could also be the reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure like once The Last of Us or something comes out, I'll figure out a way to play, that game for sure during the
Yeah.
week.
You
But
play at the
Figure
crack
it
of
out.
dawn.
what's that?
You can play at the crack of dawn, like wake up like 2 hours
That
before you
doesn't
got to go
sound
to
fun
work
at
and
all.
play.
Yeah, I'm not down with that at all. No.
Is that what you do?
No, it's not what I do.
Okay.
If I was desperate enough, maybe I would, depending on what game's out, but it's an option.
I don't think I'm desperate.
Like
I don't
be in
think I'm
bed by
ever.
10 or 11 and wake up at like
Ugh.
6 over a cup of coffee, play your game for a couple of hours and head to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather
Dude,
just stay up later.
I will say having work so close to me is incredible in terms of waking up because I have to leave my house at like 7:40. So I wake up at 7, which, if I go to bed before midnight is not a big deal at all to wake up. And I can like just take my time getting up, take my dog out, uh, get my lunch ready for the day, kind of sit down, chill, decompress a little bit, get ready. And I have like 40 minutes to leave to do that. I don't have to worry about like a commute down into Atlanta and stuff. So it's extremely relaxing to just not be in a massive rush in the morning and not have to wake up at like 4 or 5 to not be rushing.
Mhm.
Um,
See, what
so
I do to
that's
avoid
very nice.
the morning rush is to prepare everything the night before so I can just grab my stuff and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then once I get to work, I stop at Starbucks. Once I'm leaving work to start my day, I'll always stop at Starbucks because I am addicted and I love Starbucks now. I've replaced Chick-fil-A breakfast with Starbucks now.
What do you
I
get for
always
breakfast
get
at Starbucks?
I get one of their breakfast sandwiches. I think it's called turkey, bacon, and cheddar.
Yep. Yeah. I get what is that
I don't
thing
know.
called? I used to get the same thing every time I went, but yeah, their
I just
breakfast
see it on
sandwiches
the
are pretty
menu and I
good.
order it.
Have you ever tried their coffee cake?
No.
It is. I mean, I love coffee cake in general, but I swear Starbucks has some of the best coffee cake on the planet.
I'll try it Monday.
It's incredible.
I'm a big fan of the egg white bite thing.
Yeah, those are good too. I got those
Those
one
are
time.
really good.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, make sure you ask them to heat it up. They'll probably ask you anyway, but make sure they heat it for you.
Okay.
It's the ultimate way to experience it.
Yeah. And actually what I've been doing, I've been using the app, and since they aren't letting people inside, I'll order so my work's like 2 minutes from a Starbucks. So I'll order it right when I leave. And by the time I get there, walk up to the door, they meet me there and they like hand it to me. It's that
Nice.
simple. And you
Racking
pay
up
for
those
it
points
beforehand.
too.
Exactly.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Starbucks.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm enjoying a nice cup of coffee
I used to
myself.
prefer Dunkin' Donuts over Starbucks, but now I'm back to Starbucks.
Yeah, Dunkin's not too bad.
I like Dunkin's iced coffee more than Starbucks.
Dude, I used to get a Dunkin' iced coffee every day for like months a
Mhm.
while ago. Very
Yeah.
good.
Garrett, you would be
Nice.
proud of me. Actually, I'm only getting black coffee now.
Dude, look at that.
It's growing on me. I like it.
Come to the dark side, I see.
Dude,
You
my
here to stay?
favorite oh, sorry, go ahead.
What?
You here to
I was
stay? You
saying-
think you'll stick to the black, or do you think you'll like bounce back and forth?
I think I will. I mean, when I'm at home and I'm drinking coffee, sometimes I still use creamer just because
Mhm.
I like the taste of it. But I don't know. While I'm out in public, it's just nice to have the coffee and just go. It takes less time. And I
Yeah.
like the taste of Starbucks dark roast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dark roast from Starbucks is pretty good. I like the occasional cappuccino from time to time. And if I ever get like a frou-frou, like fancy coffee, it's got to be something special. And I think I had mentioned the last time I had something other than black coffee was in DC at Ebenezer Coffee House. And I got their brown sugar spiced latte.
Ooh.
It was unbelievably good. So that was the last fancy cup of coffee I had. But yeah, black all the way for me.
Preston, do you drink coffee?
Nice. I do not drink coffee. I drink a jalapeno strawberry rain every single morning.
What is that?
It's my
Did you say jalapeno and strawberry?
Yeah, do you know the energy drink Rain? RAY.
Vaguely.
I think it's made by Monster. It's like a sub company of Monster, but it's just
Who's Monster?
they're just some like local
Are they just an indie
company.
energy drink company?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just they're just
trying to make it.
They're in the occasional like gas station.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, so Rain is like I think it was like their competition to like Bang or something. It's like a higher I think typically they have like 300 milligrams of caffeine. So it's a pretty intense energy drink. But they have this Inferno series, which is like supposed to have like a thermic effect to where it's like it's kind of like a spicy drink. I don't know if they're like claiming to like accelerate like the thermic effect of like breaking down food for like higher fat loss or something like that. I don't know, but it's just essentially like they're spicy drinks, and they have a jalapeno strawberry flavor of that. And I know it sounds weird, but it's pretty much like my favorite drink, period. I love it. It tastes so freaking good. I look forward to it, every morning. So it's like an incentive to get out of bed so I can go have my energy drink.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have that. I've had that every single morning for like a couple of months now. Which
Wow.
the thing I hate is they're not cheap. It's like $2.50 per can. So it's like when I go to the store and stock up on them, I'm spending like, $15-ish a week just on energy drinks. But I don't know. I cut corners in other places so I can do that. But
Yeah, you can splooge on your energy drinks.
yeah, I don't eat out like or anything for
I don't
the whole
really
week,
either.
so.
Sometimes, like on occasion on the weekends, I'll get some lunch or something, like some T-Bell.
I'll tell you what,
But,
I'm gonna T-Bell tonight.
It's
been a while for me.
Speaking of energy drinks, I tried the Mountain Dew Game Fuel 0-calorie version.
Oh yeah, which flavor? The
red
raspberry
one.
lemonade? Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I think. Oh, I love it. I love
So I did like it. It tasted good, but because I've been having like no sugar in my drinks at all, it was like sugar overload, even though it was like the 0-calorie version. Like it was just so sweet that it was overwhelming for me. Like pretty much all I drink anymore is coffee, unsweet tea, and water. So I just imagine all this sugar in my mouth, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm drinking a Sour Patch Kids bag. Like, but it was good. I mean, it tasted good.
What do you think about
I
the
couldn't
can?
finish it.
The can on that thing, I think it's so cool.
It's a little much, but it was cool, I guess.
Dude, it's for gamers, man.
True.
Yeah, Garrett, I don't know if you've seen them, but it's like essentially a standard like can pop lid thing.
Like this big.
Yeah, but it when you pop it, it slides back. So it's got like you can slide it forward again and like pop it down. So it's like a cap on a can. It's pretty cool, but my thinking is that is it like how much more money does it cost to like put this on top of it? Because I don't know about y'all, but like if I'm drinking something out of a can, I pretty much down it in like less than a minute anyways. Like I would never like take a few sips and then close it and then like set it
Oh yeah,
aside and
yeah.
stuff. Like I pretty much just, chug everything I open.
Well, it's for the gamer on the go, Preston. It's for those Pokemon Go enthusiasts.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe.
Fair point.
But yeah,
I don't know why
that's
they have the
hilarious.
resealable cap.
I just had one of those this week and I loved it so much.
Mhm.
But
That's great,
and
guys.
different strokes for different folks, am I right?
It's well
You could
said.
say that.
Yes. We've been playing anything? Preston, you mentioned, or was it Garrett? I think Garrett, you said you played one thing.
Yeah.
Someone said they played one thing.
I played Valorant and Deep Rock Galactic.
There you go.
There you go. I played those and also a little more Persona yesterday.
Mhm.
About another hour and a half. I am in the third palace.
Nice.
But I've got to hunker down, dude, and
Yeah, Garrett's
get
waiting,
through
man.
that.
I run out of time, man. Last of Us is right around the corner.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I'm gonna do
We'll
it.
see.
2 weeks is enough time for sure.
I don't know how. That's a lot of hours you got to put
Especially
in.
if you're playing in the like 2 hours a night, roughly, if you're diligent about it.
I don't know if that's
yeah.
enough.
It's not
2 hours a
happening.
night for
It's
2
It's
weeks.
not happening.
I'm gonna try my best.
I figured out my schedule for gaming over the next several months. It will be Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Persona, and then Cyberpunk. That is
Okay.
my schedule.
That's plenty of time between
Where's
now and
Persona
September.
in there? Where's Persona in there?
You said it.
I just said it.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
completely
Yeah, Last of Us,
blanked
Ghost,
out.
Persona, and then Cyberpunk.
Okay, gotcha.
And then probably Last of Us again on PS5 at the end of the year. And whatever else launches on PS5 on launch day.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I played a few things this week. I played Deep Rock Galactic with you guys. We already talked about that, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Jumped into Valorant for a couple matches this week with some friends. That was fun. I'm still garbage at the game, but there's always like that feeling that I want to get better. And this game just has a really great sandbox, and I love the mechanics. And I want to unlock more agents because there's a lot of agents that I've never used, and there's not really an agent that I enjoy playing right now out of like the base ones. So I'm like eager
You
to
unlock
keep
them
ranking up.
with money, or do you have to play?
As you get more XP, you get like unlock tokens, and then you
Uh-huh.
use those to unlock agents.
If I wanted to, could I pay and unlock them?
I don't think so. I
Oh,
think
wow.
you have to earn them, but maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I also I think the battle pass is $10, which is not bad at all. But I'm skeptical to even get it because I don't know how much I'm going to be playing. So we'll see if I get it or not. I'm not really sure at this point. There's definitely some cool stuff in it, so it's intriguing to me. But besides that, been playing more WoW. I think I got a couple more mounts since last we spoke. I got a alpaca named Molly, and what's really cool about Molly is that not only did I get it off my first attempt at killing this world boss, which is cool, but her jump animation is probably the most adorable thing I've ever seen. It whenever you just press the space bar, she like jumps around in a circle and like her legs fling out. It's really funny and adorable. But besides that, I also got what was the other one? Oh no, guys, what else did I get? Oh, it's in Discord. Why don't I just look
You
at
got
Discord?
a big gorilla.
That'd
Did
be
I get a
sweet.
gorilla? I don't think I got a gorilla.
Mount a
Is there-
silverback.
Is there even a gorilla?
There is actually, yes.
Really? That's cool. Oh, I'm
yeah.
seeing a picture of your alpaca right now. That's adorable.
Oh yeah, I got the this rusty Mechanistrider from killing this dead spider behind me.
Is it like what tab is it in?
It's in the WoW tab under the spoilers.
Okay.
Dude, what is that T-Rex thing behind your alpaca?
That's the world boss.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
he
you just killed
respawned.
that thing like 90
Mhm.
times
Man,
to
that
get an
game is so
alpaca?
beautiful. That alpaca is cute. Is that a
This is
T-Rex
beautiful.
behind you?
Yeah, that was the guy I killed to get this alpaca.
Nice.
I think that's his dead body to the right of him. Like it didn't despawn before he respawned. So, but yeah, that was sort of
Nice.
my achievements this week. But yeah,
That's
just
cool.
still farming stuff and trying to get even more. And that's pretty much my week in terms of gaming. I
Nice.
did watch some shows that I'd like to briefly go into. I caught up, or I've watched 9 episodes. I think I'm like 1 episode behind because I don't pay for the premium Crunchyroll. So I've watched 9 episodes of Tower of God. The animation is kind of meh for me in terms of other shows that I've watched, but it's good enough that I'm going to keep watching. Some of the characters are intriguing, and I think it's a decent show. But Preston, more importantly, I think for you, I've started watching Sword Art Online,
Ah.
and I think I'm enjoying it so far. I've watched about 5 or 6 episodes. One problem that I do have with the show is that it seems to be very like the pacing of it's very quick. Like I
Yes.
think what I really want, like I want, so there's 100 floors in this this VR MMO that they're stuck in, right? And I
Uh-huh.
wish like every episode was a day or a floor at least.
Yeah.
But it seems like they go from like floor 1, then it's like floor 15, floor 40, floor 50. And it's like they're jumping all over the place, which is fine. But I don't know. It just feels like the
Well,
pacing's off to me.
let me give you some backstory. So
Okay.
this show is based on light novels,
Okay.
and the first light novel actually takes place at floor 70 something and is essentially based there. And then after that novel, he went back and wrote in the previous floors and stuff and also skipped throughout. And then he also has a book series called Sword Art Online Progressive, which actually goes floor by floor by floor by floor. And I think
Mhm.
he actually quit writing that one. He got to like book 6 on that, and I think it was like to the 11th or 12th floor or something. Which, of course, I don't think anybody expected him to write all the way up until the end. But yeah, it's it definitely is jumping around for sure.
I think the problem was that I enjoyed like the first episode and the first floor so much. Like I
Yeah.
loved seeing the progression of them grouping up like you would in an MMO. And
Yeah.
then like going to the dungeon and beating the boss. Like I thought that was
Yeah.
really cool. And then like to not see that for every other floor where they could have like just done even more with that sort of
Yeah.
storytelling, I
What
think
was
was
the
disappointing to me.
what happened in the last episode that you
That I
that you
watched.
watched? Yeah.
Last night, I think he teamed up with the red hair chick and they were trying to figure out how this dude died in the city where people aren't supposed to be able to kill each other.
Yeah.
So
And it's Asuna, first of all.
yeah,
Red haired
thank you.
chick. What are you talking about?
Come on, I've only watched 5 episodes.
Once you
And
get
she's not in all of them.
Once you get to a certain episode that is in the 70th floor where like the first book takes place, it's a lot more like what you're talking about.
Okay.
It becomes more structured.
Yeah. But one thing
So-
I do really like about the show is that the main character isn't like a pushover like in other animes. Like he doesn't start from 0 and then go to the top. Like
yeah, I know that's
he's
a
already really good because he was a big
big
tester.
criticism is that he's like invincible.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I know you'll, especially on our Discord, people might give you differing opinions, but the second arc of this first season is not good. I will say that. It's me being like a big fan of the show. I've watched the first season like 4 times, I think. And every time I watch the second arc, it gets worse and worse and worse.
Mhm.
But I do recommend you at least try and get through it because the second season is very good, in my opinion. I think it picks up again. But definitely the worst part of the series by far is the second arc of the first season, which sucks.
Okay.
And I know why it turned off so many people because typically, like even people that don't like the show like the first arc. What you're watching now, they think it's pretty good.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely look forward to talking to you more about it as you keep watching it. So
Yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying it. One thing that is a little weird is it's like it's how it approaches females in the show. I think it's a little funny and weird to me, but I don't know. It's
it's
fine.
definitely a little fans.
It's a little crude.
Yeah,
in some
for
regards.
sure.
Like there was this
Yeah.
one chick that couldn't keep her skirt down the whole episode. Like,
Oh,
thing. Like every time she got picked up by a monster and she was like holding her skirt, she was upset.
yeah. I think her name is.
They were like playing around with the idea the whole episode.
Cilia, I believe,
I
something
don't
like
know,
that.
yeah.
She's
I
a
think
side character throughout.
minor spoilers,
or
but I think
Silica.
it seems like everyone dies that this dude meets. Like everyone just dies. But we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. But
Cool.
thank you for the warning about the second arc. Hopefully I can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I discovered the show. Like I've heard about the show. I've heard you talk about it, but I was looking through VRV, the app, and I was gonna start Promised Neverland, but I looked at the description. I was like, is this something that I really want right now? So I kept looking elsewhere. Then I saw Sword Art, and I was like, you know what? I like grand epic tales. I'm gonna give this one a shot, and here we are. So I'll update you more next week.
All right, sounds good.
But let's actually get into the show, boys.
PS5 reveal delayed till sometime. Any new hopes and dreams while we wait?
The only thing I've seen is a guy I follow, Dusk Golem, on Twitter, which he's pretty in tuned with a bunch of people in terms of horror-ish games. He occasionally puts updates on Silent Hill and Resident Evil 8. And after the Thursday came and went, he said that he was 99% sure that Resident Evil 8 was going to be revealed at this event on Thursday. So that would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been cool to see. So yeah, that was the only thing I saw. And of course I've seen that Silent Hill, the soft reboot, was also supposed to be announced. So those are the two big things that I was really looking forward to game wise, that I was expecting for that
it's a lot
event.
of horror for one show.
I know. But yeah, I don't even know if that answered the question that you presented. I'm not even sure I know
I
what the
would throw
question
Resident
was.
Evil into my hopes and dreams. That'd be cool. I'd like to see what's next.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see the box mainly. I know that they've emphasized that I think this was supposed to be mainly about games, but I would at least like to see what the console looks like itself.
I think they would show it. I don't know if they spent a lot of time talking about it necessarily. I thought this was marketed as the reveal of the PS5. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was a combination of showing the console and then also some games.
It's been a little vague. I think they keep saying it's mostly just about games.
Yeah, I know that they've split it into 2 events. I think one is supposed to be in August now, and one is, I guess, whenever they decide to do it now.
Okay.
But I wish they would have at least updated a timeline or something, because every other event that has been delayed this week, it's either by 1 week or something. I know Cyberpunk delayed their event, the PC Gaming Show delayed their event, but we know when they're doing it still. But PlayStation just delayed it, and there's no update. So I'm assuming it's probably within the next week or 2. But
yeah, I think the WoW team delayed their June 9th event, which is this Tuesday. And then I think Bungie's the only company I haven't seen delay their reveal event, which is also this Tuesday. So we'll see if they actually go through with it.
Yeah. I feel if they would have delayed it, they would have done it by now.
Probably, yeah. So I don't know.
Right.
It's understandable why people are delaying things. People's attention is elsewhere right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's in just probably in bad taste to try and do something like that.
Probably.
With everybody's attention on other things and stuff. So yeah, completely understand and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure at some point this week we'll get an update on the timeline of when they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I still think that probably Horizon is the safest bet in terms of the first exclusive we'll get on the new
I
console.
believe so as well.
That would be rad.
I have no insider information there, of course.
Dude, tell us your sources.
I can't.
Reddit, dude. Pokemon Sword and Shield is getting an expansion. This may interest you both. I had no clue. This comes from Jordan Oleman of IGN. It says new details have been revealed about Pokemon Sword and Shield's expansion pass, including the release date of the first content pack, the Isle of Armor, which is to launch on June 17th. As they revealed a new trailer for the expansion pass, blah, 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 blah. Aside from the release date, we're also introduced to 2 new Pokemon from the Reggie family. Regieleki, an electric type, and Regidrago is a dragon type. Also introduced to the Galarian Slowbro, a poison psychic type with a new move. Shell Sidearm, which is unique to its form. We also learned about the Galarian forms of the original legendary birds that we were introduced to earlier this year. Galarian Articuno is psychic flying. Galarian Zapdos is fighting flying. And this is a long article. The expansion pass is coming for those that are interested. I did not play, but I'd love to hear if you guys are interested in actually dabbling in this.
Does it say what Moltres is?
Moltres.
It's typing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's weird. A fighting flying Zapdos?
That is interesting. I mean, I'm assuming in that what you were just reading, it would mention Moltres if it mentioned Articuno.
It probably does.
I don't see Moltres in here.
I don't know why you'd mention the 3 birds.
Oh, there it is. It's at the very end. And the Galarian Moltres is dark/flying.
Oh, dark flying.
Nice.
Exciting.
So,
I don't know how I feel about them like rehashing these. Like, yeah, they're the legendary Pokemon, but like they're rehashing their typings. That seems a little weird to me. Why not just make new legendaries?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's a little nostalgic.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see the Alolan versions of them and now the Galarian versions.
I thought there was only one of them though. I thought that's why they were legendary, but I guess I'm wrong. I don't know.
Nope.
Or maybe they're like under some sort of like Alolan, or not Alolan. That's Sun and Moon. What's
Sun Moon,
Galarian?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Galarian.
They're under this Galarian aura, and they're changing their typings, their forms.
Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't even think about that. With there only being like one of each, with them being a legendary. Yeah, that's
like there's not 2 Mewtwo's, right? I mean, none of this matters. Just
yeah. But is this? I know I heard Garrett say, "Is this going to bring you?" I know me and you, Jacob, are the only people out of the 3 of us that have even played these games. So, does this interest you?
It does.
It does.
I think I'll jump into it. I'm going to be looking for more stuff to play this summer. And while we do have Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, I'll definitely have time for this. I've been looking for a reason to jump back into my Switch. I actually kind of want to play through the game again, but I don't want to like restart my my save file. So I've like been tempted to buy the other version just to play through it again. But like to combat that, I also remember like how easy the game was, and I wasn't necessarily thrilled with the wild area. I kind of preferred how it used to be with the routes and just being a little more structured and knowing where to go to find things. So I don't know. I probably won't buy the other version. I'll probably just jump into it with where I left off. But I am intrigued to play a Pokemon DLC. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah,
and
I think I'm gonna.
And this was already known information, by the way, Garrett. That the 2 DLCs were announced, I think, earlier this year. But what was new was the release date, which is now June. So, and I think the other one's coming later this fall.
I think I'll just kind of hear people's opinions of this before I jump into it. I mean, hearing all this stuff,
wait for a review.
Sounds cool, but I'm not. I haven't really been dying to, get back into that game or, looking for a reason to get back into it.
Sure.
I enjoyed my time with it, but I think we've done podcasts talking about it where I was, really hoping that they would take just like another step with this being, the first, full on console mainline Pokemon game, and was a little disappointed that it wasn't. So I still have those, same feelings, and it doesn't really look like this DLC is going to, change anything enough to make it like, that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably will end up taking a pass on it unless, so many people are talking about it and it's just something, I can't miss, but I highly doubt that's going to be the case. So, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
probably end up, skipping it. But
I mean, I am glad they're
sounds
doing
cool.
this instead of like because in the past they've done like they'll release Ruby and Sapphire and then they'll do like a third version or like Gold, Silver, Crystal, right? So
Yeah,
I'm glad that they're doing a DLC instead of like remaking the same game and then adding like a few extra things.
yeah, for sure.
I think like all that was different in Sapphire is that they made a legendary Pokemon more available, and also they like changed the spawn rates of or where you could find Pokemon, which isn't really worth buying another game for. But that was also a different time. So
Yeah, I don't even think they did that with I know they did Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but I don't think
mhm.
they
Which I
had
think
a
was
third.
new, like a new story,
Gotcha,
but it was the same world for sure.
gotcha.
Can only hope that Pokemon games don't forever remain unfulfilled, like the potential doesn't remain
That's what,
unfulfilled.
Seems
we
like they're
have
going to be.
we have Tim to look forward to
Yeah.
for.
I think we have a question about that
Tim
actually.
Tim
Yeah,
is
I
the
saw
the
that.
reckoning Pokemon has always needed.
Dude, I think it legit might be.
Someone has to rise above. Yeah, it's weird, man. I mean, I'm not gonna repeat what I said I think 100 times in this podcast, but I've always loved the idea of Pokemon, but I've just never really it's never grabbed me before. Watched the show as a kid, had the cards, but I never, for whatever reason, I even had a Game Boy. I never played Pokemon games, but everyone around me did, which makes no sense now that I think about it. But for some reason, I missed out on all the games, and I feel like I'm one of the few in the gaming community that is not. I really haven't. I don't think I've played any of them, if I'm being honest. I mean, I've played maybe 5 seconds of one on like my jailbroken iPhone 4, whatever it was back in the day. But anyone else who has not played many Pokemon games would be interested to hear from you because I feel like I'm in the minority when it comes to that. But I do like
Yet here you
Pokemon.
are picking up Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and playing it for
Disappointing.
about 2 hours and then realizing how horribly bored I was. That's another thing. It's like it requires investment and it pays off quite literally because the game gets more and more interesting the longer you play. But I didn't have the
Mhm.
patience for it at the time. So, and that was like in the midst of the start of the pandemic, me finishing school. So there's bound to be a time in my life, especially if I start traveling a lot, where I'll have all the time in the world to play Animal Crossing. So it remains in my Switch. The time will come, I'm sure. But anyway, Destiny 2's leaking, not leaking, teasing either an expansion or a new season, something. Jacob, you have a little information in terms of where these characters and the trailers are headed. I've been so checked out of Destiny for so long that I don't know how to respond to it really. So I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, so I'm checked out of Destiny too, just so everyone's aware as well. But I still follow their Twitter, so I did catch these little teaser trailers that they were releasing. One was the God, what is the dude called? The Gambit dude, the dude with the little
Yeah.
um dog tag,
Mhm.
whatever his name is. He was in a ship and he was flying somewhere, which we know is Europa, which is a moon of Jupiter. So I guess it's kind of teasing a new place to go, which is cool. That's one of the things I love about Destiny when I was playing is going to different planets and discovering new areas. And then also there was another trailer of someone actually on Europa, and I think it was Eris Morn, and she was like trekking through the snow, trying to reach some area on this block of snow or block of ice. So that's all we got. Obviously, that's probably teasing a new playable Europa space. I don't know if this is. I'm assuming this is like this is going to be their big fall DLC. So I think the live stream this Tuesday, unless it gets delayed, is going to delve more into this information. But that's pretty much all we got. One cool thing that did happen on Saturday that I did have playing on my iPhone as I was working out was there was like a live game event like they do in Fortnite. I think do you remember the Almighty, Garrett, which was the thing that was I think it was on or it was close to Mars or it was like orbiting the sun or something, but it was like draining energy from the sun and it was supposed to destroy the planet. I think it was in the original D2 campaign. It was like that long ship and there was a mission where you go to it and you destroy it or something, or you disable it.
I vaguely remember that.
But I think it was like a planet killer, and Gaul was trying to use it to destroy us or something.
Cool.
So
Yeah, it was like the second to last mission, I believe,
yeah.
in the original campaign. Yeah.
So that thing, I think some scions or someone in the Cabal fleet rigged the ship for it to fall down towards the planet, and so that was happening in the skybox of the tower on Saturday. And I think like in this last season, the players have been helping Rasputin, or like getting him online and like prepared to help them defend themselves against the Almighty. And what happens in the live event is that these like red streaks come down against, like, you see the Almighty in the sky up in the corner, and these like red streaks are coming out towards it, and then it like blows up, and then you see the Almighty fall down, and you run to the back of the tower, and you can see like it impact with the earth, and it explodes. And there's this little thing you can scan on the tower, and you get an emblem or something. But it was kind of cool. It wasn't like anything spectacular or grand like you see like in a Fortnite, for example. But it was cool seeing, I guess, Bungie sort of experiment with this sort of technology in a live setting. So it was cool, I guess.
I hope more games, as service or like games like that start adapting, just start doing things like that Fortnite's doing, these like events that everybody signs in to watch happen, that either like progresses the story or or something like that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy that kind of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening with Destiny.
I'm interested. I really like Destiny. I've my relationship with Destiny 2 has been me coming back, for the big things, and staying for a few weeks and enjoying what I've played. I don't really get the the burnout feeling, because I don't put a like massive amount of time into it to where I'm doing literally everything. So yeah, I still enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It's been a while for me too. I'm gonna obviously pay attention to what they reveal and see what it looks like, because man, I haven't played Destiny since, it's been so long that I can't remember
Probably
the last
since
time I
that first
played.
raid, right?
Yeah, whatever. After that raid video we did, I may have played like a couple weeks after that, but whenever that was, which is I think years ago at this point.
I know we probably played on the PC version when it came out. And I remember playing like the beta with you or whatever.
Yeah, briefly I remember that.
Yeah,
and your characters are cross-platform, right? Like you can play your PS4 character on your yeah. I might dabble
one or
in
the
this.
other.
I'd like to mess around on PC again with Destiny, so I'm gonna keep an eye out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have a max level character on PC now. I don't know how geared it is though.
I think I did a Warlock on PC. I think I started one for fun, but I love my hunter. I got to stick to my hunter overall.
Yep.
And that's the thing, man. It was the double jump is what sold me in the beginning. I mean, even Destiny 1, they mentioned the hunter as a double jump. I'm like, I love double jumps. That's what sold me.
And you like that cape.
Cape's pretty cool. Yep. I think Warlocks in general look the coolest overall, but I love the hunter aesthetic too. I remember, Jacob, you look like a jester or something for a while as a Titan.
Oh, yeah. I remember that armor. Yeah. Everyone always made fun of me for it. I liked that armor. Yeah.
So that is one thing they nailed with the character models or the art style, and the armor designs are pretty sweet in Destiny for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning has been officially announced, and it is confirmed. Originally, it was a leak or a rumor, but it has been confirmed on the game's Twitter account that the remaster is real and will be released on Xbox One, PS4, and PC in August of this year. There will be a collector's edition that includes an Alan Shire statue, an Amalur keychain, and the hugely popular OST and 5 Amalur artwork. And it's seemingly leaked. Wait. This remaster appears to include all DLC, including Teeth of Naros and Legend of the Dead Kel, and will have improved graphical fidelity. So I had been aware of this game back in the day, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I've just been familiar with the title of this game for a long time. So I actually watched IGN's old review, which oddly enough was by Colin Moriarty back in the day, which is kind of funny hearing his voice on IGN again. But it looks like the art style reminded me a lot of WoW, and it looked just magical and kind of enjoyable. So I'm interested to see like a comparison of the original versus the remaster when they release that. And I might keep an eye out for this in August, depending on my Ghost situation and Persona situation. Maybe I'll squeeze this in before Cyberpunk in September.
Yeah, Preston, weren't you saying it was originally an MMO or something? Like
Yeah,
before it transitioned to what it is?
correct.
I
And
really don't know a lot about it.
you can definitely tell, from what I remember, the world is like very like big with a lot of empty space and stuff. So you can
Yeah.
definitely tell that they had originally planned for that. But yeah, it was, man, such a long time ago. I played that game. I can't remember anything really story wise. I just remember the combat being incredibly fun, being able to switch between different types of weapons. And I remember using like a this glaive thing, this like frisbee thing, and playing around with that, and it being really cool. But yeah, it was I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't end up beating it or whatever, but I know that game has it became kind of like a cult classic, and it's, if you find like a list of like the best RPGs you've never played, this is always on that list.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm definitely interested in maybe picking it up again, depending on you know what's going on around the time and stuff. And I'll be interested to see if they made any other improvements to it besides just graphical fidelity. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's cool. I know that THQ Nordic got the rights to this a while ago, but I know there was like, I know they got the rights to the property, but this particular game I think was still owned by like EA. So I know people were hoping that this eventually happened, but I think EA had to like give the okay for them to do this or whatever. But no, needless to say, it looks like all that technical stuff got settled and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely cool to see that this game's coming back. I'll be interested
Mhm.
to see if it sells well, if they'd be interested in moving forward with a sequel and making this a another franchise or whatever RPG franchise for us to play.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm all for that. I definitely wanna check it out when it comes out. We'll see what happens, though. I'm not gonna make any promises.
I didn't realize the dream team that had contributed to this game back in the day. It says Amalur's story was penned by New York Times best-selling author R.A. Salvatore and was developed by Spawn creator Todd McFarlane and Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion lead designed Ken Ralston.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, dang, man. And no idea. I haven't read any of R.A. Salvatore's books, but New York Times best-selling author plus those other two guys. And I'm familiar with Todd McFarlane. That's I see. I didn't even know that back in the day, so I'm already even more interested because of that.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
meant to say at the beginning, this information comes courtesy of Adam Bankhurst of IGN. But
Yeah, I don't know why it failed. I don't know if it was due to just a marketing
timing,
failure or
yeah,
timing or
marketing.
whatever, because, for the most part, nobody that's played it thinks it's a bad game, you know? It's critically received well, for the most part, and people still talk about it, to this day. So, not really sure,
For
ultimately
me,
why it failed.
I don't think I ever really knew what it was when it came out. So, like, either I was just really not paying attention to, like, news outlets, for example, or they just didn't do a good job of promoting it. And I don't know if, like, because the company doesn't exist anymore that made the game originally, I'm pretty sure.
It does
So,
not.
like, did they, like, were they in trouble when the game came out? Like, did all the controversies happen before that, and then, like, that affected the game in terms of its promotion? I have no clue, but
I mean, I don't know if there were controversies. I just think that um of course I don't want to like speak definitively about it because I haven't read or watched a video about ultimately what happened in a while, but I know that it's 38 Studios, made by Kurt Schilling, the baseball player, and I think they took out a loan from the state they were in, and I just don't think the game sold well enough. So they lost the company. I think that's pretty much the gist of what happened. So I don't know. It's
Very
cool that
cool.
it's coming back though.
Yeah.
I'll be that's 2 remakes / remasters coming out in August. Mafia, the original Mafia, and then this game. So I think I'll definitely pick up one or the other. I kind of hope it's Mafia because I never played that game, but I hope that they change that game up enough to like kind of modernize it more to where I actually want to play that game because I watched a playthrough of the old version and it looks cool, but it's also very old. So I'll be interested to see how they modernize the actual gameplay.
Indeed.
Yeah. Gentlemen, that brings us to AskIOG. AskIOG is the part of the show where we answer your questions submitted through any of our socials at ItsObviousGaming, the AskIOG section of our Discord channel, or email to us at itsobviousgaming@gmail.com. And always include the hashtag AskIOG if you want your question read live on the show. First one comes from Bohongales. Kyle. He says, fellas, I know 2020 has been an absolute dumpster fire of a year, but we have received a shining beacon of hope at the last second, and that is the trailer for Attack on Titan Season 4. As someone that has a decent idea of what's on its way and the absolute masterpiece that was the last season, I would say ejaculation is an understatement. And I'm just going to skip that whole sentence. If you guys are caught up, do you have any specific hopes for this final season? If the last season is anything to go on with Mappa taking the helm in Wit Studios' place, the finale may be the perfect cherry on top of one of the best pieces of media I've ever had the pleasure of partaking in. Hope you all are doing well and preparing for Coronavirus 2, Electric Boogaloo. Boogaloo. Yeah, I don't know any of what's going on behind the scenes of the production of Attack on Titan, but I imagine it's in good hands, and you seem pretty confident in who's handling it. So I think I just recently mentioned I loved season 3, and I'm very excited for the conclusion. And it seems like if we already have a trailer for season 4, because it took me a while to catch up on season 3, so I'm kind of fortunate to know that it's right around the corner. It looks like.
Did you not see the trailer?
I've not watched the trailer yet.
Yeah,
I hadn't finished the season when they released the trailer, so I need to watch that.
Yeah, it's minor spoilers here, but like it's a little more about the
season 3.
Okay. Well, okay. Take it. But it's not like a big spoiler, but it's more of like a okay. I'm not saying anything.
Are there Titans in it?
I think so.
Cool.
On other anime news, I watched a couple more episodes of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah?
And I like it. And it still hasn't grabbed me yet. I think I've watched 4 episodes, but I do like it. But I haven't.
So what's happened so far?
They
are they taking the Hunter exam?
They're about to start it, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That's when it gets good.
Okay. Cool. So I haven't disliked anything. I haven't seen anything yet that's made me like, man, I cannot wait to, like My Hero, for example, or Attack on Titan. The second I finish an episode, I already want to watch another one. But that show has not done that for me yet.
Yeah, just give it a little more time. I promise. Go.
I'm still watching My Hero. I think I'm halfway through season 3. I watched about 4 episodes yesterday. So I'm slowly making my way through that. Then the second I'm done with that, I'm going to get on Attack on Titan. Then I think I'm just going to have to end up watching the entire or restart Sword Art Alicization because I don't remember anything. It's been such a long time since I've watched that. So that'll be the next thing on my list.
Well, going back to Kyle's question, I am very excited about season 4. I hope it's here soon because I want to know the conclusion of the story. It's been a great ride with Attack on Titan, and
for sure,
it's probably my favorite anime. I would have to say, probably.
Nice.
That's just really good.
That show got me back into anime, man. I I remember, I don't know why I picked it up on Netflix, but I think I binged that entire show in like 2 or 3 days. I remember at work, I was pulling it up to watch it because I just could not get enough. And I told my uncle, who could not have been more against anime. I'm like, you have to watch the show. Like, I swear, I know it has anime tropes and stuff, but just the premise, the characters, everything is so freaking cool. And he watched like 2 episodes, and man, I don't know. I'm like, please just stick with it. And now he's watching all this other anime and stuff. So I definitely think it's like the perfect gateway anime as well. So yeah, it's awesome.
Gateway anime. Cool. Jam writes in and says, not a question, but please give a shout out to Gigalagaki, our friend down under. I haven't seen him in ages.
Yeah, and right after he said that, he popped back up in the Discord.
Nice.
If anyone was curious. So.
Nice.
Glad to hear it. Hipster Speedster, I assume that Sam Harris, writes in and says, hey, gaming overlords, may your KD ratios be ever perfect. Well, I tell you what, in Valorant, mine is far from perfect. I want to keep it classy, so here's my question. What's your most humorous flatulence story? In 5th grade, I was looking at a yearbook with some classmates when we came across a photo that made me laugh. The laugh apparently loosened my sphincter, and I ripped a gnarly air biscuit in the face of my teacher who was sitting in the seat next to the desk I was standing. Needless to say, embarrassment and ridicule followed. Love to hear some wet, juicy stories. Have a good week. Also, in 2 weeks, the continuation of the IOG Masters, the search for Pew story returns. The epic tale of 2 friends searching for their captured comrade will take them to strange places and even meet stranger characters. PSA, if any of the IOG members would like to be part of this epic tale, just DM me, the Scarlet Speedster, for details. Nice. Yeah, we're looking forward to that, Sam. Thanks for putting in the work. We will absolutely perform our respective roles.
I have a couple that come to mind.
Okay, cool.
One was during a standardized test in middle school, I think. It was, everyone's obviously very quiet during the standardized test. You can't say anything. But yeah, I was just in the middle of a test, and I just thought it was going to be a quiet one, and it just kind of blurted out, and everyone just started giggling. And I was, of course, like red in the face. I was like keeping my head down, hoping no one saw me do it, but I think everyone knew that I did it. But then another time was probably sometime in high school. I was in a movie theater at like I think it was a movie with my dad or something like that. But obviously another quiet area. I just, again, thought I was going to be quiet, but this one was really loud, by the way. Like it just, the whole row in front of us, like turn around and like look behind. Obviously they couldn't see me. I had the safeness of the dark in the movie theater, but still it was loud enough to hear it. Like it probably happened in between like 2 trailers or something like that, where it was just quiet.
It's like when someone's saying something to their friend, like at the top of their lungs in the middle of a trailer, and it ends and they're like screaming as soon as it goes to play. Dude, I oddly don't have any that come to mind. Of all things, you think like farts, something we like talk about a lot in this show. I have no stories.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is in elementary school, we would, I think, go to like a 4th or 5th grade class when I was in kindergarten or 1st grade, and they would help us read or something. And I remember sitting with the guy I was partnered with and farted, and he obviously heard and was like, oh my gosh, like, did you fart? And he made a big deal out of it, and I was mortified. I denied it was me. Like, no, it was
Was it me, dude?
My book made it when I scooched like back or whatever. And I remember it just embarrassing the crap out of me. But yeah, that's the only thing that can really come to mind. I don't think I've done anything like in a classroom or whatever.
Garrett, I think in one of the episodes a couple months ago when it was just you and me, someone said there was like a fart sound in the audio of one of the episodes. And I don't know if like I farted and then like I didn't think it was going to be heard, or if like I just made a noise somewhere on my end. But I think it was me, whatever the noise was. So there's that too.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple people pointed that out in the Discord that week.
Yeah,
I went back and I didn't know what it was. Like I couldn't figure out what it came from.
Yeah, as you guys know, I've invaded people in the toilet a few times unintentionally in my day, but that's the only like related story I can think of in terms of farts. But
Wait, what do you do? You're invading people on the toilet?
yeah, I remember like in Brazil, I kicked
Oh
the door
yeah, you
open,
were.
and same thing at Phillips Arena when it was still called Phillips Arena. It was a Hawks game. There's a door that looked like it was loose on a hinge, and I was trying to open it. It felt like it was just stuck on something, and it turns out there's a guy holding the door closed because the lock was
You
broken, and I had no
bastard.
idea. And it was so loud in there that he was probably the whole time like, "Sir, someone's in here. Sir, someone's in here," but everyone's screaming in there.
You're
So
like the
finally,
bully.
so finally, I'm like, "What the hell?" And I kicked the door open, and it's so funny because it was so quick. It slams so hard against like the inner wall of the stall that for a brief moment I see a man like an absolute horror on the toilet, pants around his ankles, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry." The door like smacks the wall and closes again because I kicked it so hard. That poor man, dude, probably thought I was coming in there to kill him.
You probably thought you were gonna beat him up or something.
Yeah.
Like the big bully breaking in his stall.
So, and that's what's funny. I'm someone who always knocks, but both occasions, I remember in Brazil, it like the door was cracked or something. So you're just assuming no one's in there. But if a door is closed, I always knock. Like I'm not one of those people that like goes to check if it's locked or not first. I'm shocked at how many people, and I'm in like a single stall restroom, people that just try to open the door without knocking every
Mhm.
single time I'm in one.
I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy in most stalls to see if someone's in there. Like you look in the crack, and if you see that little notch, you know it's
Yeah.
occupied.
I'm talking about restrooms that have like a full door, like at a CVS or something. I'm fascinated at how many people don't knock
I
before
just
they
wish
try
all
to enter.
bathroom doors had the vacant, no vacant thing on the lock. Like that
Mhm.
makes things just so much easier. You don't have to disturb the person inside. You can just clearly see that, somebody's in there and you just wait.
Yeah. I mean, generally, if I see a bathroom door closed, like whether it's a stall or an actual door, I usually don't open it unless it's unless it's like a deal where you go into like a firehouse subs, for example, and like their door handle is just like they have the men's door and the women's door. You have to open the door to get to the bathroom,
Hmm.
like, and then you can lock those doors. I haven't had a lot of encounters where I've walked in on someone in the bathroom.
I haven't either. I just hate when it's like I'll knock and like Garrett said, I'm very, cautious when entering another, one
Oh,
person bathroom
we know.
because I will I'll knock, I'll listen, I might knock again. I'll like slowly pull the handle down to see if it's locked. And even doing those things, I'll start opening the door. And then the second I get the door open, it's like slam shut. It's like, I'm in here. I'm like, well, why didn't you say anything when I was knocking? Or like,
Yeah.
like you have to speak up. Like I
That-
can't just sit here for like 30 minutes banging on the door until I hear something. So yeah, that's why I'm a big fan of the little sign things.
Come on, people.
I've been
Work
in
with us here.
a couple unisex bathrooms without realizing that's what they were. Like I walked into a
Mhm.
restroom in a hotel in Seattle once, and
See anything nice?
there's a woman washing her hands at the sink, and I was like, did I walk into the women's restroom? And I walk out, and it's like unisex or whatever it's called, or I can't remember the proper term, but I was like, that's kind of weird.
Were there urinals in the unisex bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's how it is over
One
there.
day I want to walk in on a woman using a urinal.
It's
I just
bound to
want
happen at this point.
I just want to see someone squatting on a urinal. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I just think it would be funny.
Um, let's see. Vanover 59 writes and it says, hello, beautiful boys. Have you guys ever heard or played Tim Tim? It's still in early access right now, but it's really fun to play with a buddy. Just wondering if y'all had any thoughts on it. Love the podcast, but I've been listening for years. So glad y'all are back to once a week. Vanover, thanks for tuning in all these years, my friend, and thanks for writing in. I don't recall ever receiving a question from you before, so we appreciate you taking the time to do so. I have
For
not
sure.
played Tim Tim. I'm only aware of it through Preston, so I can't comment on this, unfortunately.
I have played Tim Tim. I'm a early access person or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, I had to
kind of a
play it
big
on.
deal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so early access with it that when I was playing it, it was only available on Discord.
Oh.
Now it's on Steam and stuff at least.
Yeah, isn't the
Um,
Discord game store gone or something? Or
I, don't-
I think you can still
I
play games from it if you bought them.
yeah, I
But
mean,
I
I
think
hope so. I
yeah.
bought Tim Tim on there. I would love to be able to not use Discord though. So
Mhm.
maybe I can look into seeing if I can transfer it over to Steam or whatever. But
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like Tim. I think it's really cool. I know there's going to be a Switch version of it, which
That's
would be
actually
ideal.
really intriguing.
Yeah, which definitely would be ideal. But it's it's definitely a Pokemon clone for the most part. But it's can be always online, so you'll see other trainers running around constantly. I think it's exclusively 2v2 battles, and there's like a really cool like stamina system to where it's definitely inspired by Pokemon, but it's not a straight up, clone. Art style's cool. Yeah, that's all I can really remember. I only played it for like a handful of hours, but again, there wasn't like a ton of content when I was playing it. And like I said, I definitely would prefer to wait for a Switch version. So, but yeah.
I've always been hesitant to jump into it because of the 2v2 battle system, honestly. It kind of
Mhm.
I think that's just me being so used to Pokemon that I like how that works. And I like it's not that I don't like the double battles in Pokemon, but like the whole game revolving around that. Not to say
Yeah.
it doesn't have strategy, and I'm sure there's fun to be had playing like that. But I don't know. I like just the one on
And
one.
I don't want to say it has more strategy because I don't really know. I don't play competitive Pokemon, but in the sense of like a single player like campaign comparing Tim to Pokemon, Tim seems to have like way more layers and strategy with it than Pokemon does for
Yeah.
sure.
So if can you like team up with someone and like you each throw out one Pokemon?
I
Does it work
do
like
not
that?
know. I'm not exactly sure.
Because that would be cool if you could like play the whole game co-op. I
Yeah,
think that would be really cool. But then
I don't
like
know.
would each person have 6 Tims or would you have how many do you have in your party?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, none of this matters. But
Yeah, it's been a while since I played it, but I did enjoy it.
yeah, I think we've mentioned Tim a couple times on the show. But I don't think any of us are playing it at the moment.
Yeah.
But thank you for your question. Vanover.
Absolutely. Carlos writes in and says, "What up, Eogs? Eog, Eog. Do you have any weird talents? Example like juggling. Can you lick your elbow, put your feet over your head?"
Is that a talent?
It's a weird talent. Yeah, I'm not that interesting, unfortunately. I wouldn't say I have any weird talents. I have weird features, like I have elf ears. Also have a bit of a giraffe neck, and I found out both of those things in school growing up, which
People let
humiliated
me
me.
know that I have a draft neck.
Now, I've told that story, haven't I?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. So, no weird talents though that I can think of. What about you guys?
I can do that weird thing where I can flip my like eyelid and you can see that red thing.
Oh yeah, I'm not into that.
Please don't do that. I don't know if I have any weird talents. I would have to think for a second. What can
I
I
don't.
do?
I can already say that. I can do this weird thing with my thumb.
That's a weird talent.
Yeah, that's about it.
Can't.
Yeah, I can't do that.
No.
I can crack my fingers, my knuckles. That's pretty
Wow.
weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're that
They're not
boring.
cracking right now.
Sorry, guys. I have an absurd obsession with Hunt Showdown. It's kind of a weird talent. I
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that is.
guess. Alexander Salamander. That is hilarious. Alexander Salamander. I don't know why I think it's so funny. What if that was actually his last name? Like, dude, what's so funny about my name?
Hey, you're making fun of him, dude.
Alexander Salamander writes in and says, "Have any of you three magnificent male specimens ever played Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance? I recently played through it again and remembered just how over the top and glorious it is, and hope that one day a direct sequel or spiritual successor follows." Preston, is this the one with Raiden where you have the sword? I've only
Correct.
ever played the demo.
Yes. I actually played it about a year ago. I got it on PC and very weird PC port. You have to like play it in windowed mode.
It's lame.
And you kind of have to mess with it a little bit. But I did not beat it, unfortunately. I played at least probably a quarter of the way through, and what I played, it was fantastic. It's really fun. combat, and it's just the main thing that's so cool. And I can't remember if he pointed it out in the question or not, but it's just insanely over the top, like just absolutely nuts. Like I remember fighting a helicopter, and the very end of it, just slicing it up into like a million pieces, and that's a main part of the combat is you can actually like um, determine, the angle at which you're slicing. So like these enemies will have these cores in their body, so you like whittle them down, and then you go into this mode where you actually have to slice these cores, and then you grab them and like rip them out to give energy to yourself. So it's really satisfying um uh gameplay like cycle with that. But yeah, I always wanted to get back to it. I can't say that I ever will, but this question reminded me of it. Definitely is intriguing me, or like kind of giving me more incentive to go back and play it, because what I've played is very cool.
Thought you were going to say something, Jacob.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, I've always been attracted to the sword mechanics in that game, or just whatever angle you slice at is how it cuts something.
Yeah.
So I've always been drawn to that game because of that, but I've never played the full version.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that type of sword gameplay in other titles, something other than Fruit Ninja,
It
for
was
example.
Fruit Ninja.
Platinum used it a little bit in Astral Chain. One of the draw things that you get, you're able to slice at a particular angles like that. So that's the only
Cool.
other game I've ever really seen it in, I think. And both are Platinum games. So that's
Cool.
another game that I never beat, but I had a ton of fun with.
Astral Chain?
Yeah.
It's on the backlog, but my backlog
Yeah.
is becoming more and more distant the more
Dude,
that this time goes on.
The music in that game is freaking epic. It is
Mhm.
so good. Your main hub is this police station, and just the music running around in there is so good.
That's cool.
So
Ugh.
speaking of music, Garrett, I got an email that my Final Fantasy VII soundtrack is going to be in not next week, but the week after.
I assume you
Excellent.
won't be
So-
opening this.
No, I'll open it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've grown in that regard.
I want to listen to it. It's
Yeah.
still not on Apple Music yet, so
Mhm.
I want to listen to it.
Cool. Nice. Alexander Salamander, man. I hope you get that sequel or spiritual successor, and being such a fan. But
For sure.
it's fair to say this game's also in my backlog. Astral Chain as well. My backlog is like 3 pages long now, but it's on there. Big Colt writes in and says, "What's good, you stanky rangy?" Every time I write into the show, I sit stoically for a few minutes trying to muster a thought-provoking question that will make for a good discussion, but usually just come up with something relating to pooping, farting, or eating. But today I'm wondering,
Same.
has quarantine allowed you to discover any new hobbies or interests other than gaming? I've been fly fishing a lot more since it's something you can do in isolation and outside, as well as developed a gambling addiction with stocks, since Robinhood is basically a pocket casino on your phone. New hobbies. I will say I've been drawn to spend more time outdoors, but every time I'm like, I want to go like take a hike somewhere, or I want to go run, or just do anything outdoors, something lands on my plate that I have to do that requires me to be indoors for significant periods of time. I will say I've been reading significantly more than I was while I was in school and working full time. So I've been doing a lot of reading, but in general, I have a desire to spend more time outdoors. I'm hoping I can go on some sort of vacation this summer. I would love that, but nothing's planned at the moment. But for me, I'd say I wouldn't really even call it a hobby because I read before, but I'm reading more than I have been in the past.
Nice.
What about you guys?
None. Absolutely nothing. I've just been doing the same things.
Kind of picked up cooking more. I just really didn't go out too much during the quarantine, so I was just making a lot more food, and have kind of incorporated that into my I don't know if we're necessarily post quarantine, but I'm incorporating it into my like work life, where I'm out more and stuff. That makes sense.
What's the best thing you've made? Or just things that you have made?
He's made a whole lot of anabolic French toast.
Yeah.
Anabolic French toast.
Yeah, it's really good. It's from a YouTuber, Greg Duche, who's this bodybuilder guy. He has a lot of really, really good recipes. And his French toast is one I eat very frequently. Granted, that is the reason for my intense flatulence, because I cut that out for a few days and it went away. So be wary of that. But yeah, that's very good. I've made a few like pizzas and stuff, using like pita breads and stuff. Just kind of making just like foods I enjoy, not be the most unhealthy thing I've ever had. Pretty much just like recipes like that.
I was thinking about having a pizza today. And Garrett, I took your advice. I bought Red Baron pizzas this week instead of DiGiorno's. And I will agree with you. They do taste better. You're right.
I hope you never eat a DiGiorno pizza ever again.
They're not bad. I don't understand why you guys think they're bad.
I wouldn't wish that upon you, Jacob.
A thin crust DiGiorno pizza is good. I will die by those words.
I'm a massive fan of the Quest pizzas. Those are
the people that make the drinks in the bars.
Yes, they have a protein pizza.
They have protein pizzas.
It's amazing. It is.
I haven't tried it yet.
Dude, I love it. I take like a mountain of spinach and just throw it on there, throw it in the oven. It is so good. Dude, the whole pizza is 700 calories, 60 grams of protein. So super filling. Very good.
60. All the ones I see are like 28.
That's for a serving. If you eat the whole pizza, you double that.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen those at Walmart. They don't sell them at Publix.
Yeah,
at least
I always
not the
have
Publix I go to.
2 or 3 in my freezer.
Nice.
So very
I'm
good.
tempted to try those. I love me a Red Baron though, but because I have like other like when I'm exercising frequently, like other protein sources. But whenever I eat a pizza, I'm like I want it to be like just the
I am
most unhealthy thing possible.
I'm super into trying just like weird protein powders. So the 2 that I'm on right now are a Fruity Pebble protein powder and a Kit Kat bar protein powder, and they're very tasty. Before that, I had a Chips Ahoy one and a Fruit Loops one.
So I had actual Fruit Loops recently.
Yeah, they're very good.
Are they good?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. The Fruity Pebble one tastes exactly like the cereal milk after a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. It's awesome.
I've got just a standard triple chocolate flavor right now, and it is delicious. It's like a chocolate smoothie every time I have it.
Yeah, I use a like a whey protein to just like make shakes with, and then I have a whey casein mix to do baking things with, because I know casein protein powder bakes easier. So I'll make like a cake or like a mug cake or things like that with that powder. Then I have powder specifically for making like shakes with and stuff. So
nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, no new hobbies, I guess, aside from reading and cooking for Preston and I. So, but in general, I'd love to be outdoors more. Thanks for writing in, Big Colt. I believe it's Race. Forgive me. It says, hey guys, not a gaming question. I'm missing sports. What is your most memorable sporting moment? I don't mean you as a sportsman, but as a sports fan. Much love to you all. Much love back to you, my friend.
Oh, mine is the easiest thing ever.
I have a couple.
When Georgia beat Oklahoma in double overtime to go to the national championship, I'm pretty sure I pooped my pants and fell on the floor, like just screaming my head off. But of course, I had the worst emotional heartbreak of all time the following week when we lost in overtime in the national championship. So both of those things are my most memorable things, hands down.
Yeah, leave it to Georgia teams to always drop the ball at the last minute, with the exception of Atlanta United at this point.
Yeah.
At least Georgia football teams. Mine's also a Georgia moment when they warmed up in their red jerseys against Auburn, the game where they unveiled their black jerseys and came back out running out of the tunnel in their black jerseys. Freaking epic. Love that. Awesome. Any other great moments?
watching Tiger win the Masters the last time was pretty freaking awesome. After his
comeback,
just everything that he had gone through and coming back and
Was that
winning
the Masters?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was
that
pretty
was really
awesome.
cool. I remember that one tournament. This was like before all that happened, but it was like the year where he just had this monstrous comeback and he like made that crazy putt. You remember that putt where it was like at this huge angle where it just curved? Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was like the most insane putt I had ever seen. And he ended up winning that tournament. I think it was like a US Open or something. But
Gotcha.
yeah, Tiger Woods he has incredible ability. I don't know how he does it. Yeah, probably for me, it's a disappointing moment. Is my most memorable moment is when the Falcons just got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. I think it was 2017.
I remember your reaction, dude, like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I was depressed. I was
you just
sad.
sat on that couch by yourself for like an hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't say a word to anybody.
Dude, of course I'm not a big Falcons fan, but yeah, the end of the Georgia National Championship game, I had to drive to Alabama the next day for work, and I didn't listen to anything, no music,
wow.
no pod. I just sat there just like staring straight. Like I don't even remember driving there. I was just like in an absolute daze.
Yeah. What is life anymore?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I questioned what the point of it all was after that Falcons. I didn't know if I could go on anymore, but it does make me feel a little better that our offensive coordinator from that time who's now the 49ers head coach. He blew it again in last year's Super Bowl, so that makes me feel
yeah, for sure.
And it almost happened the same way. Like they were ahead, and because of calls that were made, the Chiefs came back and won. So
yeah.
They just can't hold leads. This guy can't hold leads.
Man.
What's his name? Kyle Shanahan.
Sports, man. I love them, but they've caused me some of the most pain in my entire life.
I hate sports, dude.
I like sports just enough to enjoy them and not get terribly disappointed.
I wish I could feel that way, dude. I'm too deep. I'm too deep in it. I fear I'll never be able to come out. But yeah.
I used to be I still care about Georgia and want to see them win, but I used to be far more passionate. And I think my passion died when we lost to Alabama. And was that the national championship against Alabama?
Mm-mm.
We lost 2 years ago too.
We've lost to them a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Whatever time we lost, we were like practically inches from the end zone to win.
Oh, that was the SEC. That was the SEC championship in 2012, where I forget who it was. I know Aaron Murray was our quarterback, but yeah, we literally drove down the field to win, and the guy caught it and didn't get out of bounds, or I don't even know if he was the intended receiver, but anyways, yeah, the clock just ran out and the game just ended. It was insanely
That's the only time I've ever said anything mean to my own friends.
We totally would have won the national championship that year too, because Notre Dame was just straight dookie, and that's
why I was so upset.
Yeah.
Because I remember Zach and Elliot were there, who are passionate Georgia Tech fans, and they just want to see Georgia lose no matter what. Usually, I think Zach was like pulling for Georgia just in support of me during that game, but I feel like deep down they're glad Georgia lost. I remember when that game ended, I was like, I don't want to hear shit from either of you. That's what I said. I've never ever said anything mean to my friends.
My most disappointing Georgia moment was when Georgia had that huge lead against Alabama in the national championship game, and then they switched quarterbacks because I think Jalen Hurts got hurt or something, and then
he just wasn't doing good.
Yeah, they pulled him. You're right, and then Tua just destroyed us in the second half. Like it wasn't even close. But yeah, that was something else.
It was only a 3-point win. That's what I say to make myself feel better.
That doesn't make me feel better.
It was
has Georgia beaten Alabama since Saban's tenure? I don't think they have.
Yes. The first time they played, which was I think 2007. But we play them the third game this season.
Oh really?
At their stadium.
Interesting. So it'll be a tough one.
Good luck.
For sure.
Both teams are getting new quarterbacks, right? So we'll see
Yep.
what happens.
We're probably going to have the Wake Forest transfer, Jamie Newman, and they are going to either have probably Mac Jones or Bryce Young, I believe is his name. But we just also got another transfer from USC, JT Daniels. So we're gonna have like 3 or 4 quarterbacks.
I heard about the USC transfer. I saw that on the
Mhm.
news.
Yep. So I don't know. Very interesting. I'm very excited that it, for the most part, looks like we're actually going to have a season. So
Yeah.
super pumped about that.
Nice.
I'm glad Jake Fromm's gone. I mean, he was fine, but I didn't see us winning under
We
his leadership.
we had the chance to win with him, and unfortunately, Malcolm Parrish blew cover in the final final play, and yeah. So
You hate to see it.
you do hate. I hate to see it for sure.
You do indeed hate to see it. But let's
All
move
right.
on, Gary boy.
I mean, I was going to say, dude, I do just miss
Oh.
sports in general. I mean, I miss going to Atlanta United games. I'd love to go to a Braves game because it's so easy to get to SunTrust from
right
where I
there.
live. And I just love the environment of a sports game. Like, I
Yeah.
want to get a hot dog and a beer at a Braves game. I want to go to Atlanta United and enjoy their incredibly cheap concessions and scream and holler with all the ravenous fans.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's practically walking distance from my apartment. So
I don't even know if that will be a thing when sports do come back.
That's just a
Because
shame, man.
I know-
I miss crowds. Like I don't in general like being in crowds for too long. I'm not like nervous in crowds.
we'll go to a protest. You'll find some crowds.
Yeah, I get tired of crowds pretty quickly, but I just miss like uplifting, positive, exciting, passionate
I understand that.
sports crowds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. But I know the NBA season is going to be in Orlando exclusively, and I don't think they're going to have any fans there. So
wow.
I assume the other leagues would follow suit. I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess, in August when the NFL actually comes back and college football and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I haven't really been keeping up to date with any of that stuff. So I just know that the seasons are going to happen or that they're on the verge of happening once owners and leadership agree on terms. But the NBA is confirmed to be coming back. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's nice. All
I
right.
think the MLB is still in limbo in terms of what's happening. Not that anyone cares about the MLB. My interest certainly waned the older I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to really be interested in something that just lasts for so long. Like that's why I like the NFL so much, or just football in general, because there's just enough games to keep it interesting and where they matter, but also it doesn't take up too much of your time throughout the week. Like that's my problem with basketball and baseball is that there's like a game every other day. You're like, I have to always devote this time if I want to really be a fan of this. But with football, it's just like one, a few hours a week. That's all you got to do.
I feel you. It's like the CW superhero shows why I dropped out because
Yeah.
their seasons are like 6 years long,
And
they
they're
even
just
take
bad.
breaks in their seasons. So
Dude, I'm so bummed that Batwoman, she left, dude. I can't believe she would abandon the show.
totally, dude.
I'm just heartbroken, dude.
Elder Uzumaki writes in and says, "Hey y'all, I've been a fan for a few years now. It's great listening to y'all, and it's my favorite part about driving to work every day. Love the new setup and renew y'all done. Was wondering if y'all had ever been in the mood for a while where you want to play games, but you just don't feel like loading into one or don't know what to play. If so, what did you all do to get back to playing?" Elder, thanks for tuning in, my friend. And yes, I know. I think that all three of us can relate to that. I mean, I just recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, it wasn't that I didn't really want to play anything, but I had so many things that I could choose between that I just couldn't decide, and I just opted out entirely. So I couldn't play. So I've been in that situation for sure.
I know Preston was talking about it last year. I think at some point where he just didn't want to play anything.
That happens to me all the time.
Mhm.
And what fixes it is just when a new release comes out, like I'm kind of in a minor funk right now, where it's like I'm, loving the crap out of Persona 5 Royal, but I'm just not like wanting to play it 24/7. But I know that when part 2 comes out, and Tsushima and Cyberpunk especially, I'm gonna probably just be like obsessed with those games until I beat them.
Yeah.
So
I do get in those funks, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I ever stop playing games entirely. There's always something that I want to work towards. What does happen though is that I'll just spend less time overall playing games. I'll just opt to do other things, but there, it's really rare if I go a whole week without touching something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something I enjoy doing a lot. And usually it just takes mixing up when I'm playing to reinvigorate my interest in the medium.
Nice. Yeah, there's a rare occasion where I'll go a while not playing something, and I'll if I jump back into an old game or pick something up just out of the blue that I haven't played before, and it like gets its hooks into me. It's rare for me, but that's always nice too. When you're like, I don't know what I want to play, and whether it's an old game or something new, um, and it kind of like fills that void. It's cool.
Mhm.
But Elder, thanks for writing in, man. Big Nasty writes in and says, Garrett, I totally respect you not being into the Beatles. I'm sure I'd be fed up with them, honestly, if I had to listen to a ton of cover bands. Similarly, since you talked about the Ghost Inside so much, I've tried to give them a listen a couple of times. However, I can't get past the screamo part. Not that music with screaming isn't good. It's just that I think particular style of it hasn't been my thing since I was in late middle to early high school. I respect the songwriting, though. A band that I think moves me the same way would be Balance and Composure. They're more of an alt rock band. However, I think their lyrics are very interesting and moving at times. However, on to my actual question. Do any of you have a game that you loved when you were younger that you find extremely hard to play now due to age, etc.? For example, I picked up Call of Duty 3 at a game store some time ago and popped it in to play it for the first time in 10 years and was astonished at how awful the controls felt, especially the aiming. After repeatedly dying, I decided to give up and not let my memory be tarnished. That's a good comparison. In regard to music, I have not heard of Balance and Composure. I'll have to check them out. And I meant to share my brief thoughts on Ghost Inside's new album that released on Friday after 6 years. And I've listened to it, I think, 10 times all the way through at this point.
10
And
times?
yeah, I've just had it on repeat for like the last, it came out on Friday, the last 3 days. I've had it on repeat. Um, Amazing album, lyrically, musically. It is, I think it's easy to say it's my favorite album by them. And I do agree, like they said before it came out, we think this is our best work. And I would agree. I think it is definitely their best work, just all things considered.
Wow.
If I was going to put together like an ultimate Ghost Inside playlist, it would include songs from all their albums. But I think overall, from start to finish, this is their best album. And musically, it's freaking awesome. Vocal performances for me are tremendous. And of course, the lyrics, as always, are what stand out to me above everything else for the Ghost Inside. And the only song I don't love is Pressure Point. Now, musically, it is a freaking banger. It is awesome, but it's one of their angrier songs. And for whatever reason, they only have a handful of angry songs in their library of music, but I've never been a fan of their angrier tunes. Not that like every like band has like different types of emotions they express, especially in like hardcore and metal. Like you're going to have some angry tunes, but the Ghost Inside to me has always been about their uplifting messages. And their angry tunes just don't appeal to me that much, but it's still like a kick-ass tune, but it's probably my least favorite on the album. Um, Overall, like I said, it's really good. I think one of my favorites is Still Alive. And I thought this was so cool to connect the dots here because those of you who've been listening for a long time recall me mentioning that I met the vocalist of Ghost Inside at the Black Ops 4 reveal event in Los Angeles. He sat right next to me when we demoed the game, which is amazing. And we got to talk for a while. And he told me at the time, and granted, this was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it was summer of 2018, I think. Yeah, summer of 2018. And he said that when I asked him about their new album or if we could expect anything soon, he said, well, I'll tell you this. He's like, my writing style has changed a lot since the accident. And I'm realizing for the first time in my life, I'm having to live up to everything I said I stood for. Like everything that I've written about, I'm having to actually live up to those lyrics now. And it said it can entirely change his perspective on his writing process. And it's so cool to listen to Still Alive, which lyrically all the way through is amazing. But there's a line in the chorus where he says, I have to stand up to everything I said I stood, or I have to live up to everything I said I stood behind. So that's basically exactly what he said to me 2 years ago when he's talking about his writing process. He's having to live up to that. And it was cool to like hear him say that to my face and then hear him scream that in the song 2 years later. It was really cool. So if you guys haven't listened to it, if you like hardcore, if you like metal, I'd give it a listen. It's really solid, but it's kind of funny too. It's not funny. It's actually really sad. The day after the album launches, they kicked their bass player out of the band. So it kind of like tarnished me listening to it the second day, but I've let that go. But love the album. But sorry about the tangent, but I'm going to check out Balance and Composure as well. But in terms of playing old games, I won't reiterate this too much because I've shared it in the past, but Call of Duty 3 has forever been one of my favorite Call of Duties. And it is the Call of Duty I was best at. I would snipe I would choose Axis every time. My favorite mode in game type, our favorite mode in map in Call of Duty 3 multiplayer was Eater Dam, Capture the Flag, Axis with the Car 98 sniper. And I was just an absolute monster. I kid you not. This is not an exaggeration. In a standard Capture the Flag match, I would average 125 kills. I think the most I ever had is 197 with a sniper. I was just a monster with that thing, and I loved it. And I would just play that for hours on end on 360 back in the day. But I also dabbled in Call of Duty 3 maybe a year and a half ago for like 10 seconds, and I also was astonished at how bad it controlled, like truly terrible, especially in terms of just even how good Call of Duty 2 felt before it. And every Call of Duty since, as we know, mechanically is exceptional. But Call of Duty 3 does feel so weird. And maybe that's why I was so good at it. It was so bizarre that I just got so used to just making that game feel right to me that it clicked. But that still is, in spite of the poor controls, one of my favorite Call of Duties because of how good I was at it. Mm-hmm. So, but what about you guys? Any old games that you've gone back to that you loved that you find hard to play now?
I don't think I really have any great examples for this, but I do have some weird examples that kind of relate and kind of don't. So one is, so I've been on record saying that I've really, really like Kingdom Hearts, right? And then I like the first two are really great, and then Birth by Sleep is also a really great game. But I went back and played, I think it was Birth by Sleep a couple months ago, and I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast, but I was just going through the game again, and not only is it just really dated and looks really bad, like just graphically, like especially the Cinderella area, my God. But it was just really hard to get into, and this also relates to Kingdom Hearts 3, which is obviously a newer game, but more in line with Kingdom Hearts 3, the overall story of Kingdom Hearts. The older that I've gotten, the more that I've realized that it's just really stupid. It is so stupid. Not that I didn't know that it was like cheesy and, had all this heart stuff in it, but like, it's just dumb. Like it really is. And I think I just really liked Kingdom Hearts because of all the Disney stuff. And it is a good game. Like the series is good. It's incredibly too convoluted. There's too much going on and there's too many games. Like everyone can agree on that. But I just think overall, like especially the third one, it's just hard to get through. Like I haven't replayed the third Kingdom Hearts game, but it's just really, I don't know, like it doesn't appeal to me like it used to. And I don't know if that's just me or if it's a knock against the series, but that's the best I can really give you. I don't go back to a lot of old games, so I can't really say like, oh, I used to play Halo 1, and now that I've gone back to it today, it doesn't feel like it used to me, or it doesn't feel good anymore because I've played other games. But that's what I got for you. So my love for Kingdom Hearts has sort of fallen off, unfortunately.
Yeah, on that note, I think I am almost certain I will never play Kingdom Hearts 3 for a couple reasons. Basically, what
honestly,
said,
you're not missing
Preston
much.
Scared me off so bad that
it
I
has
don't
its
think
moments.
I'll ever touch.
The ending is very good.
But even narratively, I like to believe that it's like me with the whole Halo 4 through Infinite situation where I'm like, I like things about these games, but it's fan fiction to me. Whereas Kingdom Hearts, I like to believe ended when Kairi reached out her hand to Sora on the beach of their island, and they
Yeah.
grab hands, and she returns the star he gave her or whatever, and that's like the end of the story to me.
That's where it ended for like 13, 14 years, however long it took to make the.
So
the
to me,
third
that's where the story ends. This fan fiction follow up, I'm sure, has its moments, but
one thing that I should be doing, though, I can't believe I haven't done this yet, is that I haven't played the DLC that came out after 3.
Dude, the ending for that is like insane.
The DLC?
Yeah.
Oh, have you played it or did you watch it?
No, I just know what it is, and it's
I need to play it. I think
confusing.
I think I was going to play it. Oh, it's confusing. Shocker.
Confusing. Oh yeah. Oh,
my bad. I'm saying shocker. That's something in Kingdom Hearts is confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing, but also very kind of cool as well. But
that's what I was hoping, that it would sort of, does it wrap things up? Because like something happens at the end of 3 that then like the game ends.
I might be speaking a little bit out of turn, but the ending I'm referring to, I don't know if it's necessarily like a secret ending or the actual ending, because I do know that there's a final boss
I know what you're talking about.
Who is a person from something, and I know either if you beat him or lose to him, a different ending occurs. But if that is the ending, then I already have no clue what's going on, and that just made me have even less of a clue. But there is a call, like there's a relation with the ending to something else that I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I played the DLC because when it came out, I looked at the price and I was like, do I want to pay $40 for this, or do I just want to wait? And I chose to wait. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a little much for a DLC, in my opinion.
But
especially,
you can play as Kyrie. You can play as Kyrie, though. That's sort of
right, dude. What was I thinking? But yeah.
Cool.
I got my Kingdom Hearts out of the way.
The only game I can think of that I have gone back to play is Ocarina of Time, and that one holds up well. But I can't think of any other game that I was really into as a kid that I've gone back and played and didn't think too highly of it. So
yeah, because if you're going back, you always going into it that this is dated, right? This is gonna feel a little weird to jump back into, but hopefully you're gonna recognize old habits and how you used to do things.
On a side note, in relation to this topic, I'm hoping that the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake is more than just a graphical upgrade. I hope that they have revolutionized the combat a bit, because looking back on the game, as great as it is with its puzzles, its traversal and platforming, and even storytelling, music, love Sands of Time from back in the day. But the combat, when you think about it, is just block, attack, and then stab the guys on the ground with the dagger to make sure they stay dead. And obviously that gets pretty monotonous and repetitive over time. Now, as a kid, I loved that. But I'd like to see them get more creative with the combat, maybe update it to be more modern, and have the dagger be more of a tool other than just killing things permanently. Like maybe incorporate some sort of interesting upgrades to the dagger. Maybe you can add perks to it to do interesting things as you play throughout the game, more so than just reversing time and killing things. It'd be kind of cool. So that's a big hope of mine when they officially announce that, because I'm fairly certain it's official. And just after even before the leaks, I had talked to that Steadicam guy that said oh yeah, I shot all the cutscenes for the Sands of Time remake. I was like, what? So it's pretty cool.
Could be canceled.
I look forward to seeing what that's all about. So that was from Big Nasty. Big Nasty, thanks for writing in, man. Mason Martin writes in and says, an update on my catching up. I started 10 episodes behind, and now I'm only 4. Awesome. What a ride it has been. So as usual, apologize if this question/topic has been answered and discussed. There's been a rumor floating around that a Star Wars game is being revealed on the 9th. My question is twofold. Assuming this is true, what do you want it to hope? Oh, there it is. Sorry. What do you want it to be, and what do you think it will be? Hope you guys are doing well. Mason, thanks for writing in, man. What do I think it is? It could be a number of things. My
I mean,
first,
we don't
first
even
guess would
need
be,
to speculate. We know what it is.
what is it?
It's the Project Maverick game that's being made by Motive.
I didn't know they were calling it Project Maverick now.
Yeah, it's another multiplayer Star Wars game.
Interesting.
From what I've been reading.
What would I want to see in a multiplayer Star Wars setting that we haven't seen already? With Battlefront, because Battlefront seemingly came a long way based on just things I've kept up with over time.
I mean, things I've been reading, people are speculating that it's like a vehicle-only game.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm into that. I've always wanted a pod. This isn't probably ever going to happen, but I've always wanted and believe in the potential of a pod racing game akin to like a Forza. Make it a little more arcadey, but Forza in terms of customizing your pod racers. Like you race in beautifully rendered, especially, I mean, I doubt they'd want to use Frost. Well, maybe you could use Frostbite. Whatever engine Playground uses for Forza, use that to develop a pod racing game with that like photorealistic art style and race on like Coruscant and Tatooine, Endor, like all these planets and different competitions, and of course decking out your pod racer, and maybe it more than just like investing your winnings from winning races into upgrading your pod racer, but like maybe there's a race on a planet that's like offering this legendary engine or legendary piece of a pod racer that if you win the race, you earn the piece. And it could be, of course, multiplayer, single player. I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be like a single player narrative driven pod racing story, but then multiplayer would be like across all these planets, like different weather effects, damage effects. You can like see the damage to your pod racer over time. Maybe there's even abilities you have to attack other pod racers. Like you could be like sort of Sebulba's like trying to screw everyone over in Phantom Menace when he's racing. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like I do believe there's serious potential there, but it's easy to question like how many people would actually be interested in that. Because on one hand, yes, there's a big racing community for video games, but the three of us aren't really into racing games. And many people I know aren't really into racing games. I know those people exist, but I can maybe name one person I know that like regularly plays racing games. So that's a fair question.
I think you also got to think that episode 1 came out a long time ago. And do people care about that anymore? Like, do kids that grew up, with new Star Wars, whether it's the animated ones or the new sequels, like, do they even care about that? Like, surely they've watched all of it if they're into Star Wars, but I don't know. Does it matter? Does it mean as much to them as it did to us growing up with it? I don't know.
Yeah. There are many factors that would prevent it from being developed. I know what was that pod racing game that was recently not released, but ported to PS4, I think, whatever it was. Came out not too long ago, but that happened. But I still believe in a modern AAA pod racing game. Back in the day, I pitched my bounty hunting game. I think it'd be cool. But multiplayer, though, vehicles, unless it's like X-Wings versus TIE Fighters and space type game, I've never really been into those either. If that's what it is. So is it EA Montreal that's working on what Ragtag was and making it like a new open world game?
That's canceled.
I know Ragtag is canceled, but I thought Montreal had taken whatever it was and is turning it into something else. Has that since been canceled as well?
Yes, I think so.
As far as I've read, there are 2 current Star Wars projects in the works right now: the sequel to Fallen Order, and then this unusual small project, the Project Maverick thing that Motive is working on. That's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like maybe sometime last year, EA announced that project altogether, Ragtag, and then whatever happened, whoever was working on it afterwards, it was just scrapped. It's just gone.
Bummer.
Yeah. It really is a bummer because I really wanted to see what Maverick was.
Yeah, I'd still hope for a KOTOR.
Or Ragtag, Ragtag.
Either a KOTOR remaster or just a brand new KOTOR game would be awesome. And this is coming from someone who's never played all the way through either of them, but
yeah,
I love the idea of another Star Wars RPG.
Yeah, I agree. I would love another KOTOR. Because those games are kind of dated at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't
know. Especially
the
first one. First one's something else.
Let's see. Big Jake writes in, says, "What's up, boys? I am loving the rebrand. I think it's really great. I just finished The Last of Us for the second time, and I forgot how scary it can be at times, like the runners in the basement. So,
Mhm.
what are your favorite scary moments from past games? Peace and love, boys. Peace and love to you, Big Jake."
Garrett, before I forget that Let's Play we did for RE7, and I think it was me playing, or maybe it was you. I don't remember, but walking around or approaching that corner and the whatever they are, the tar,
The molded,
the molded
the
dudes
Oozman.
just popped around the corner and just
Yeah, that's when I
scared the
fell out of my
crap
chair.
out of us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because we had that was in the middle of that series. We had some technical issues with my capture card, and we had to reshoot one of the sequences of the game. And I think we just assumed that after killing that molded the first time we played it, that it like saved a checkpoint and we wouldn't have to kill
Mhm.
him again. So I go waltzing around that corner like we've slaughtered everything, and he just is in my face the second I turned that corner, and it scared me so bad that I fell out of my chair.
Mhm.
Um, and that was not staged. I was not trying to be funny. I literally fell out of my chair out of fear. Um, but yeah, I've had a few scary moments in games I'll never forget. In Dead Space, one that always stands out to me. It's always the subtle stuff that scares me, especially unscripted. Well, I'm sure they're scripted, but like moments that feel like they're unscripted that spook me. In Dead Space, I came around a corner and there's a long, narrow corridor. And at the end of the hall is where I have to go. And there's a doorway, an open doorway with some sort of tall figure standing in the doorway, just looking at me. And of course, I stop and look at it, and it just turns and walks out of the doorway and like
Mhm.
into the room where I have to go. And I had no choice but to walk that direction. I remember that spooking me pretty bad. Um, yeah, collectively, between Resident Evil and Dead Space and a couple moments in Last of Us games like that, I've been spooked pretty good. What about you guys?
Um, the one thing that comes to mind are games that aren't necessarily horror games that have scares in them stand out the most to me, just because obviously you're not expecting it. So probably the biggest scare I got from something like that was in Bioshock Infinite
Mhm.
when you're sneaking past the forget the name of them. They're the dudes with those giant horns on their head, and you finally get to the end of that segment and you turn around and one's just standing there staring at you and sets off like its alarm or whatever. That scared the absolute crap out of me the first time I did that. And then the original Bioshock, which it was also, it definitely is. I wouldn't consider it scary, but like it's got some horror-ish vibes to it. But when you go into the dentist office and you go up to a desk that's like in the corner and you turn around and he's right in your face, that was a pretty good spook as
Uh-huh.
well. Um, so yeah, those two things that stand out to me. Then of course, like PT, which that's the scariest thing I've ever played.
Yeah.
Period. That game scared the absolute mess out of me, dude.
Mhm.
Just yeah, the entire experience of that wrecked me. So yeah, that's definitely at the top of my list for sure.
I got a couple more recent ones. I remember playing through Sekiro and approaching that. It was the canyon part where you're going through the snowy mountains. And you approach the bridge, and you start walking across the bridge. Next thing you know, giant serpent comes out from the mountain, just chomps at you. And at the time, that just scared the crap out of me because I didn't even see it coming until it happened. And then, I think no, these happened the same year, so I shouldn't say more recent. But I remember playing RE2, and this was at the beginning of the game. But I remember going into this little room, and it had like a closed off jail cell portion. And I go in there and pick up an item. And I start to leave that room, and I think I made a clip of this back when I was streaming. But this dude falls from the ceiling, and it scared the crap out of me, dude. Like I started screaming. And I think it almost killed me. I was just so freaked out. I couldn't think of how to compose myself to take care of it. But yeah,
Yeah, that
RE2 was a lot of
reminds me.
fun.
That reminds me that my biggest scare from RE3 is the ending credits jumped up out of nowhere so fast it scared the crap out of me, dude. So
The
that was
credits?
yeah, they came like so fast out of nowhere that it completely took me by surprise. It scared me to death. So
That's strange.
yeah, I know, right?
Is it like hit you with loud music or something, or?
No, the joke is that the game was so short that
Oh,
the
okay.
credits surprised me and it scared me. So
I
yeah,
didn't
that
understand.
gotcha.
Was there any scary portions of that game?
No,
Okay.
0.
That's
I guess
disappointing.
if Nemesis running at you is scary, then I guess that would be
That
the
is kind of
scariest
scary.
part. But even like Resident Evil 2 wasn't scary to
Mm-mm.
me at
I
all.
disagree.
Um,
There were scary portions.
so
It becomes
yeah,
less scary, I'm sure, the more you play it. Like you, and also,
the scariest thing that's happened in Resident Evil by far recently was Mrs. Baker in 7.
oh my God, you're
That was the
right.
scariest thing. Just
That
her
was
giant
terrifying.
bug form was pretty
Mhm.
creepy. Then
Mhm.
prior to that has to be the regenerators from Resident Evil 4. Those things are pretty spooky.
Also, seeing those spiders in Hunt Showdown, Garrett.
Yeah.
She's
Pretty
terrifying.
spooky. Yeah, I'm the armored scare me the most in Hunt Showdown. If one of those chases you down, the way they growl at you, and they're so deadly that they can kill you very quickly. So if they get a couple good hits in, you're screwed. So those things are growling, chasing after me, and they're pretty quick too. It's pretty terrifying. So yeah, the things that scare me in a game is a combination between sound design and how easily they can kill me is what scares me. Um, that's always like the killer combo that'll freak me out every time.
For
But
sure.
Big Jake, thanks for writing in, man. We got 2 more, and if you guys are wondering why we have an abundance of community questions, it was to compensate for the lack of news this week. So I hope you guys are enjoying it, and we continue just to encourage you to write in each and every week to not only just fuel this part of the podcast, but also fill weeks that have minimal news. Alexander Walker writes in and says, "Hey guys, loving the new vigor about the show. Question: with Xbox not leaving people behind on last gen consoles, making games accessible for all, will this actually help PlayStation at launch? Just buy a PS5, a cheap Xbox, and have the best of both worlds. Thank you. Keep up the good work." Um, will it help PlayStation? I don't know. That's the thing is that we talked about this. It's kind of a double edged sword because financially, on paper, Xbox is going to do really well because all of their games, for at least the time being, will be accessible across all of their available consoles, whereas PlayStation 5 games will be available obviously exclusively on PlayStation 5. That will have a lot of compatibility, but ultimately it is intended for PlayStation 5 games, which I love, but I also understand to an extent why Xbox is taking the approach they are. So I don't know if it'll help PlayStation or not. I don't really know. Um, so
Yeah, I don't know if I understand the question.
I mean, I think what he's getting at is that if what is the incentive to upgrade to a Series X if you can still play the same games on the Xbox X that you have or the S or whatever? And his hypothesis is like, wouldn't you just buy a PS5 to play the PS5 games and then just keep your old Xbox because you can play the same games that a Series X can play?
mhm.
So, do you think that would maybe um, give more incentive to make the next gen leap with a
The
PS5 because
PS5
you're
versus the
actually
Series X, yeah.
yeah, because you can actually play the exclusive games on PS5 instead
Mhm.
of Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's kind of my thoughts on it because I have an Xbox One S if I absolutely have to play an Xbox, but with the games being on PC, there's really no point of me getting a Series X when I have a PC. And if I want to play, Sony first party games, then I would get a PS5. So if, people kind of have the same mindset as me, it makes sense to do that. Um, so I would probably, agree with that, especially if just this everything is kind of like status quo in terms of just Sony people just buying more PlayStations than Xbox. I would assume that continues on into the next generation.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you.
unless granted they haven't even revealed like the PlayStation 5 yet, so
Yep.
we don't know how much these things cost or anything. So obviously it's really hard to make any like for sure guesses with these consoles when we really don't know too much about them for the most part.
Hmm.
So
Yep. I think you pretty much nailed it there.
For sure.
Like, I feel like it's weird to ask us anything about Xbox because I don't think any of us have plans to get it because, like Preston said, everything that they release is going to be available on PC. So why wouldn't we just play it there?
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, grand finale, Andy of Windsor writes in. He says, what's a game that you have had a ton of hype for and then didn't finish or just didn't enjoy it as much as you thought you would? That's a good question.
Mine's gotta be Mass Effect Andromeda. And I know that there were like the reviews were, what they were. There were all the signs in the world to kind of point towards this game being buggy, not as good as the previous ones, etc. I was still hyped for it because um it looked fun enough having just an open world Mass Effect type game, and I even had like expectations for it to not kind of live up to the standard that the original trilogy set. And even then I still couldn't beat it. And I've tried to play that game 2 or 3 times, and the gameplay is fun, the combat's actually really fun, the classes are entertaining, being able to switch between like pretty much anything. Like you're not set in stone with what you pick like in the first three. But yeah, the story just doesn't get me. The exploration doesn't really hook me too much. And I just went back and played Mass Effect 2 a few months ago, and that game is freaking awesome, dude. It holds up super well, and I need to get back to it because I was playing through the DLC for the first time and it was awesome. So yeah, playing the second one and just how much better it is in Andromeda kind of further cements me not ever going back to Andromeda.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the only game I can really think of that I was actually hyped for and couldn't finish.
Well, for me, the obvious one is No Man's Sky. Um, I, I remember being excited for it, and then we've talked about No Man's Sky many times. I was just extremely disappointed with what came out, and just it didn't intrigue me at all. So I played maybe a few hours, and that was it. I just never went back to it. And then the other one, which is way more recent, is Borderlands 3. I saw all the hype around that. I got excited. I probably put in, I want to say, at least 20 to 30 hours. I don't think I got anywhere near finishing the game. And I just fell off completely. I haven't even thought about going back to it.
I
What
almost
about you,
forgot
Garrett?
about Final Fantasy VII while I was playing it a few times. Loved it in
You
the end when I
bastard.
finished it, but there was because I was so busy and while I was trying to play through it that there were times where I would be sitting doing something, but like I feel like I'm forgetting something, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then later I'd realize I'm like, oh yeah, it's Final Fantasy, and I'd get back to it and then remember how much I enjoyed it. But I think on 2 or 3 occasions I forgot I was playing it. But that isn't really in relation to this question because I did enjoy that game a lot. But
I'm having trouble even remembering what came out this year. There hasn't been a whole lot, has there?
no,
It
a lot of
wasn't
stuff
like
has been
last year
delayed.
where there were tons of things coming out in the beginning of the year.
I can't. It's not really fair to say Animal Crossing for me because I wasn't overly hyped about the new Animal Crossing to begin with.
You're hyped enough to buy it.
I mean, I wouldn't even say it was hype. It was just nostalgia. The reason I bought it is I love the original so much. But that hasn't
And
grabbed me yet. But I
I was
No,
recognize,
I feel
counting
like that's
down
an
the
example.
days.
that I can enjoy that game a lot more if I put the time in. So
Mhm.
yeah, man. But that's it for me. Unless you guys got something else.
Nope.
I think
Cool.
that's it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 234 of the It's Obvious podcast. Thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in and for writing in an abundance of questions this week that kept the discussion alive. We greatly appreciate all of you. And hope you guys just have a amazing week. Happy Monday for listening on the day this episode is released. And if you're listening on anywhere but Spotify or Apple Music, it's also available on Google Play. The YouTube version is a video version, of course, on YouTube with our faces and B-roll of games we were talking about. So if you guys are interested in the video version, that's also available. And of course, we encourage you to join our Discord and join in on the community discussions that happen daily on our Discord. It's an amazing place, and we will never cease to encourage you to join us there. But of course, if you're willing to take the time to rate, review, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcast, even if you don't listen there, there's still potential for us to grow as a result of your support there. So we would greatly appreciate if you would take the time to do that as well. But again, I hope you guys are remaining safe and healthy in the wild times we're living through right now. And I know that we will see an abundance of positivity and fruit from this hard season that will come of everything as a nation and as a world we're undergoing. So we're just glad that the three of us, can come together and talk about things we enjoy and just sort of be like a getaway for a little while. And we hope you guys have had fun listening, and just encourage you guys to engage in discussion on Discord and in the comments of these episodes, because we love to hear from you guys and are just forever grateful and humbled by your continued support. So that's it for me. We love you to bits. And the floor is yours, gentlemen. Any closing thoughts?
2020 has been a heck of a year. It's only halfway done, which is crazy. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that gave us all these questions to sort of fill our show this week. I just talked to Garrett, and he told me that we were going to do the podcast this morning, or Sunday morning, which is now. But yeah, I just sent out a Facebook, Twitter, and then I put it in Discord that, hey, we need some questions, and you guys delivered with loads of questions. So thank you very much.
What you got, Poobah?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you guys summed it up perfectly. I echo what you all said.
Cool. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, we love you. And thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you again very soon.
Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.